But I remember going to that place and being just just in love with all the scenery that was
Mm.
there, and it brought me back to my time in Washington State, where obviously Washington is known for a lot of rain and a lot of forests and a lot of nature up there. So it really made me remember that time of walking like nature trails and
Mhm.
whatnot. Like, the name is going to come to me, but
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
If it doesn't, hey, in the comments, we gonna need your help on that. So speaking of nature, have you written any pieces just being out in nature, whether walking or just kind of maybe sitting on the dock? Have you done any writing like that? Just in those kind of locations?
The only location like that that I can say is maybe in my backyard.
Okay.
In my backyard, I did, and it was right around the time when summer was turning to fall, and fall is my favorite season. And so I wrote a whole piece about fall. Because it just fall is the time that really speaks to me the most. The changing of the colors. The winter is right around the corner, but before you get to there, you can have this in between time of enjoying the cooler weather and just going on walks and just really taking a chance to get to know nature. Um, I just really love that
Yeah.
time of year.
Yeah. That sounds great. I mean, just to be able to be, no pun intended, be in your own backyard and create something is very,
Right.
what I'm saying, powerful, very powerful. Now, I know that you like to motivate people, you like to inspire people, but who are two people that have inspired you, whether family members or, celebrities, politicians, people who have inspired you? It could be one for writing and one just about in life.
That's easy. Quinta Brunson and Issa Rae. Both of those people are the catalyst of me not only starting to get back into poetry, but wanting to take that from a lane of poetry and into film, which my ultimate goal is to become a screenwriter. And so to see those two women like start from maybe little YouTube shorts and just throwing together small clips, and then to make it to Oscar worthy and HBO shows. Like, those are just two people that I truly, absolutely love that those women exist.
Okay.
Um,
And for those who haven't, seen her perform, you will, especially in this video. But one thing I notice about you is you're very captivating. You like to paint the picture and then leave people like on a cliffhanger. It's like, what's next? And it's like, wait. But then this happened. You're like, oh my goodness. Well, this is a roller coaster right here that we own. So, was it a particular reason that you started to want to do that writing? Like at it, like was it an early age, or you picked that up on like later on in your life, wanting to be a screenwriter?
that was later on in life. That
Okay.
was that was maybe the last 2 years. I really started honing in on wanting to be a screenwriter, and the cliffhanger stuff like it wasn't planned. That's just my particular favorite genre of movie is psychological thrillers, like
Okay.
those type of movies that like leave you guessing in the end, or like make you have to go back and look to figure out like you get that aha moment. Like, those are my favorite genres to watch. And Stephen King also is one of my favorite authors to read, and he writes so detailed, and I don't believe there's any detail that is wasted.
Yeah.
And so that's how I like to write now too. Like, I like putting details in there, which is also why a lot of my pieces tend to get into that 6 minute, 7 minute, 8 minute territory. It's hard for me to write short pieces, but I just believe the details matter.
Yeah.
And I do believe that's eventually why I'm going to have to switch out of poetry and into screenwriting, because it does captivate people, and I didn't even realize how much it would until I started performing it
Mhm.
and people started telling me that they were captivated. Because honestly, like, there's no other writers in my family. So when I've read my writing to family members,
Mhm.
they don't see it the same way as other artists might,
Yeah.
other creatives might. So to go from an audience of like waiting for this to be over, like, oh, you still writing, you still speaking, huh, to an audience that's like literally hanging on every word, they really helped boost me to want to do more and to write more and to write things that are captivating. And so it's fun. It's a fun thing to write.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And when was the first time you got on stage?
December 2023.
December 23, 2023, and right now we're in June of 2024.
Yeah. So
So, and with that being said, when I first seen you perform, it was at Tyrita's open mic. That's
Hmm.
Color My Voice. Make sure y'all follow her.
Shout out Tarita.
And as we're filming this, she will be have already accomplished her 1 year anniversary at her open mic. So shout out to her. So for you, when I first seen you perform, I didn't know what to expect because everybody has their different artistic
Hmm.
like abilities and what they like to do. And one thing I noticed about her was we can tell whether was this a real story or this was something she just came up with. But the thing about it was it came from her. It wasn't something she just picked up from someone else and just switched out a couple words. And I just think because it was so organic, people really, what I'm saying, they really rocked with it and they really enjoyed it. And that's when I reached out to, I said I would definitely like to have you on my platform because sometimes it's hard to condense your feelings and emotions and in just a few minutes just to
Hmm.
be able to perform. But you
Right.
going into screenwriting, then that gives you more time and a
Yeah.
more ability to utilize everything you have. Because this is, can you speak on that as far as people who feel like they got to condense things to fulfill the algorithm that we're so-called living in?
Yeah, like I hate the small attention span that society has right now. If you don't capture them in the first 2 seconds and they're scrolling on to the next thing, but there are people out there who want to hear the detail. There are people out there who want to see more. They want to hear more, and I had to get myself out of the mindset of trying to condense my work into something small. Um, because a lot of these open mics, they do want to give you 5 minutes or less, and sometimes it's hard for me to condense an entire world that's in my head of what I'm trying to create into just 5 minutes. And so there have honestly been times where I'm like, I know this is going to be more than 5 minutes,
Yeah.
but by the end of it, they let me continue because, like you said, they were captivated and they're like, well, it's over 5 minutes, but we got to hear the rest of it.
Mhm.
We have to hear the rest of it. So I just encourage people, like, just write to however long it takes to get it out. I mean, don't try to put yourself in a box of ideas and detail just to appease this small audience of people who want to hear something good in 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Stay true to yourself.
Yeah, most
Mm,
definitely. Because sometimes, you can feel like, well, I want to go to this major, venue or whatever, and then, that way because there's more people watching me. But that could be more people there, but it's even more people who aren't really paying attention because they're coming there for maybe other things to see other people, or it's just a little vibe, it's just a party. But sometimes, you want to go where you feel like the art is really is, what I'm saying, where it's
yeah,
at and it's speaking to you, and you don't feel like you have to condense yourself, or
yeah.
you don't feel wanted. Some places they make you feel like, okay, well, my type of writing, or what I want to speak about, it's not even welcome here. And it's nothing just like it's off color or anything like that. It's just something that it connects with you. So go where you want it
Hmm.
at and where you feel comfortable at, and just continue
Absolutely,
writing for sure.
absolutely.
Now I want to ask you, just because you're a writer, have you come across writer's block, and then how did you kind of get over that, if you ever had that?
I have had writer's block, and a lot of times I just end up moving on to a new piece, and then something will happen to spark me going back to the other piece to finish it. Uh, Also, another technique that I've utilized recently is I started writing from end to front. So I think of how I want a piece to end first, and that's usually where my plot twists happen. That's usually the most exciting part at the end anyway. So now I just have to write to that point, and it's a little easier for me when I already know where the climax is
Mhm.
to then how to get there.
Makes sense, makes sense. And
Mm,
there's so many different methods of approach,
mm,
So if you feel like, hey, well, these other people who I may be in a writing group with, they write this way, so I need to do more of that. You just focus on what works for you, what
yeah,
I'm saying, and sharpen your
absolutely.
tools and get better each day. So and I also kind of want you to touch on that. Those who feel like, let's say maybe some music, like writers, people who, maybe write, songs or whatever like that. What would you say to them as far as those who feel like, oh, I got to make a hit record like this, or I got to make a poem like, that's about love and romance, and just stay with that? Can you speak to that? Or people feel like they got
That
to
is
fit in that box?
That's so funny. I just had this conversation with another artist, and trying to make something that is going to hit, I feel like you'll end up failing every time. But when you write, just write something from the heart, and even if it's something that it didn't take you as much effort as the one that you're like sat there and tried to make for this big hit. Like, and you could put something together in like 5 minutes, and like, Yeah, here you go. Something that you don't even want to put out, and you put it out, and it does numbers.
Yeah.
Like, and I've heard that from so many different artists that I've come across, as well as I believe I just heard the same thing from comedian Matt Rife. That the same thing, you know, like his least lovable performance that he was like, nah, well, I'm not releasing that. I'm not releasing that. Was the one that blew him up. And so, yeah, I just do just want people to know, like, do not try to make something that you think everyone else like. Make something that you like, and it's going to be relatable, and other people are going to flock to it regardless. You know, the right people, like you said, the right people who need to hear that. Because the last thing you want to do is make something that doesn't fit you, and people start flocking to you, and now you have to fit into this fake version of yourself because that's what the audience now wants to see.
Yeah.
They came to you for something that was fake. Now you have to keep the fake up because they don't know who you really are.
Most definitely, most definitely. So I want to ask you if you could give a message to the world with everything that we currently have going on right now in the world, from politics to the family dynamic, broken families, kids wanting to grow up fast to being adults, and then really not having the understanding of what it takes to be a thriving and successful adult. Can you just give a message to the world? Like, you know, if you was on the world stage, like what would be a message to the world?
People just need to have empathy and love each other, like for real, and you know, be true to yourself, be true to others. You know, I just feel like there's a lot of fakeness in the world, and if people are just authentic, like they authentically feel for people, they authentically have empathy for people, a lot of our issues could be resolved. I feel like we live in a world where no one wants to have empathy. Everyone's out for themselves. They don't care about what's going on in Palestine. They don't care about what's going on in Congo. They just want to, you know, focus on what's going on for themselves, not even for their family, just them. And people just, like I said, have empathy and just open yourself up and just love others. That's
Most
all.
definitely, most definitely. So, do you have any upcoming events that you would like, you know, the audience to know about?
Um, I do have an event coming up. I don't have all of the details yet, so I don't want to put that out there just yet. Um,
Hmm.
but there is definitely something coming up. But if you follow me, LV_Latrail, you'll see that information soon.
Most definitely, most definitely. Well, I definitely appreciate you being on here. And before we go, is there anything else that you want to just plug, or you just want to let people know about that we haven't touched on?
You know, for those people out there that have been thinking about getting into the open mic scene or the spoken word scene and have not just made that leap yet, I just implore you to find a comfortable spot of artists that are welcoming and that will accept you in and just go for it. Like you said, I jumped on the stage 6 months ago in December. It was a pure poetry live stage of all stages, but I just made the leap and I've been leaping ever since. And I feel so much better about having a purpose for my writing and a purpose for my hobby now that I've made that leap. So just go for it.
Yeah. And shout out to Peer Poetry Live. You know, obviously they do a lot of great things. So continue to be successful in everything y'all have going on.
For
So
sure.
again, we're live, but it's all good. Hey, it's all good. You know, it's great weather out here. You know, it's a blessing, and honor to have people like her. You know, on my platform. She's always like I said, she's originally from Georgia. I'm from Georgia, Winter Robins, Augusta. So it's always a great thing. You know, so again, I want to appreciate all the support. And anyone following me, make sure y'all go follow her. And until next time, this has been another edition of the Creators Light Podcast. Honor Shagil. Until next time, peace. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The light.